Montréal. Vous parlez français?
No.
Non, pas du tout.
I wish.
You said Montreal perfectly, Montréal, with the right
I
accent.
I can fake it, but
That's why you're a great actress.
yeah.
I would love to have you as a doctor.
I don't know if you would really, on account of because I don't know how to do anything, but yes, okay.
You look so reassuring. And Eve was there to do that in the movie. How would you describe her?
I would describe her as someone who has worked so hard her whole life and has kind of given up a lot of the fun stuff of being a kid or being a young adult to focus on medicine, and then has just gotten sucked into this disease that has just come up out of nowhere and is just really devoting her life to it. So that when we meet her, she is 100% in, and she's 100% purely wants to help these people. So she's a little bit on the fence about whatever's going on in the hospital, when things are starting. She doesn't know how she feels about this new medicine. She doesn't know how she feels about the establishment that she's working with, and she's ready to have her viewpoints changed.
This movie is like a crash course on the beginning of the disease and the medicine. Did you know about it? Was it a crash course for you also?
Well, I certainly remember it happening.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it.
When I was doing my research for the film and I was reading all the, it's one thing to read about HIV and AIDS now. It's a totally different thing to read the magazines from the 80s or the medical journals and what people were coming up with and the steps that were being taken towards finding out the truth of what was really going on. And so I read so much of that stuff from the 80s. And when I got to the Time magazine that we have in the movie, I remembered that on my parents' coffee table. I remember reading every single word of it and just being terrified by this unknown. And so I was kind of like, oh, that's right. I was there. I was a kid, but I remember it.
Working with Matthew McConaughey, amazing performance. Was it the first time you were working with him?
No, we worked together before. We did a romantic comedy called Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, which, people say, oh, now Matthew's firing on all cylinders, which is absolutely true. But I will say that his work ethic is the same as it was then, that he worked as hard on that movie as he did on this one. On this one, he had an incredible director and a great role and a great script. But he's always been that good, in other words.
An incredible director, Jean-Marc Vallée, from my hometown.
I love that Jean-Marc. It's all about Jean-Marc.
It's all about Jean-Marc,
At the end of the day, nobody could have told this story like Jean-Marc. Other people would have made a movie out of it. Jean-Marc just told the story. He left it unadorned. He left it unadorned, literally, with no makeup, with no lights, with no frills, no fancy shots. The whole thing, the story was told by one guy with a camera on his shoulder who just saw everything that we did, and he and Jean-Marc, they would chatter away, and then he'd say, okay, we go again, and then we would do it again, and only Jean-Marc could have told us.